Okay, folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier. It's Memorial Day night. Happy Memorial Day. I saw a movie today. I saw Back to Black, the Amy Winehouse story. Not a documentary, but a biopic, I suppose. And in case you're wondering where I'm at right now, I'm at the wonderful Buc-ee's, which is this gas station franchise. It's open 24 hours. It's kind of like a giant Walmart inside of Buc-ee's, full of clothing and food and all types of things. Not terribly underpriced, I'll say that, but it's still a nice place to go. And speaking of which, they pride themselves in the restrooms. Okay, now that the free ad is fucking over, let's talk about this movie. Saw it at Disney Springs. If you haven't been to Disney Springs, it's kind of this little ad hoc addition to Disney World. And it's a fun place. And I was driving, basically I had like a 5-hour drive today, not including breaks. And I said, I need to recharge. It was very hot. It was in the mid 90s. I need to pull over and I need to see a movie because that'll refresh me and the sun will go down and I'll feel much better driving late at night with less traffic. So I went to see this movie, which I had wanted to see anyway. And what did I think? Well, I went in very cold. I did not know much about... there's this fucking spider joining us. You see this goddamn thing? This spider. Yeah, go away. The spider wants to join Mike's Instant Movie Review. Now I have to look at it, and I have to wonder if it's going to kill me, if it bites me. Look at this fucking thing. Goddamn spider. Jesus fuck. So I'm gonna monitor this spider. I mean, I don't feel like I'm not in a killing mood, so I'm not gonna just kill it. Maybe I'll blow it away. Yeah, that fucked him up a little bit. He like rolled into a ball and now he's hiding. Just go away. God damn it. I'm going to. I whisked him away. I didn't kill him. I just whisked him. I whisked the spider. Okay. Now what if that spider had bitten me and I became fucking Spider-Man and I just ruined it by not allowing this goddamn spider to bite me and I fulfilled my destiny to be Spider-Man. Getting back to this movie, I knew nothing about this lady. I had heard the Rehab song, and then I knew basically she did the Rehab song, and the next thing you know, she was dead. And it's sad. I'm not mocking it. I just, I knew she had a great voice. I knew maybe 2 of her songs. Rehab and another one I can't remember. And I just did not know a lot about Amy Winehouse. She was kind of in that generation, 15 years ago. The late 2000s, the early 2010s, where I wasn't really that big of a pop culture guy. The Jay-Z's and the fucking Taylor Swift was coming up in the game, as they fucking say, and Beyonce and all these assholes. I just didn't give a fuck, and I still don't, to be honest with you, but I care a little bit more now for whatever reason. But all these people, I just don't give a fuck about them. So, Amy Winehouse, I obviously had heard a few of her songs just passing through life, and I had seen that she had a very striking look, and there was a lot of women at that time, and still now, that have that Suicide Girl kind of steampunk look, you know what I mean? The tattoos, the poshiness, you know what I mean? If they have a kid, they name the kid Nathaniel. All these goddamn retro things, whatever the fuck things. Still, I really didn't know much about Amy or her departure, her death. Going into this movie, I knew she died at 27. Ooh, the 27 Club. Ooh. I mean, if you fucking think about it, you could take any age, 28, 26, 35, and you could probably find 1,000 famous people that died at any given age. But for whatever reason, and I think it's because of Janice and Jimmy and Jim, those were the big 3 in that 60s generation. And now it's just carried upon us that this 27 Club is a big thing. And it's sad. I mean, that's what it is. And, in my youth, I kind of idolized, a Jim Morrison type. And I still think he's a great singer. But I think it's kind of sad when people, the bottom of the bottle is their best friend. You know what I mean? And it's like, I mean, it's addictive. I mean, that's the big secret and shame of alcohol specifically, is that we advertise it, you know, oh, have a beer, buddy. But it's very addictive material. Oddly enough, my birthday is Repeal Day here in the USA, which some of you are wondering, even if you're in the United States, what's that? December 5th is the day that you could have a drink again. I believe in 1938, that's Repeal Day, okay? After Prohibition. So there you go. But in any event, so we see this young Amy. I think the star of this movie is the star of this movie. The young woman, I can't remember her name now. I think this is her first big role, but I think she did a wonderful job. I've heard rumblings and rumors that she actually sang her own songs, sang Amy's songs, Amy Winehouse's songs, similar to Val Kilmer apparently singing a lot of the stuff in the Doors movie from back in 1990. So I give credit to this actress. She looked to me, you know, similar enough to Amy Winehouse. I'm not an aficionado of Amy Winehouse, but this actress looked like she looked similar enough to pull it off. Like I said, I'm not a huge Amy Winehouse expert, but I mean, she looked the part to me, and I think she did the lady justice. I think, if anything, watching this movie, I kind of felt like I was just watching real people. You know, like I was learning the story. I didn't really have so much criticism of the film. Had I had known more about Amy, I might have pointed out some truths and consequences, like some things that were wrong with the movie or whatever the fuck. But in this, it was just more like another sad story of an extremely talented person who, for whatever the fuck reason, just demises. And you can't really blame anyone but her, to be honest with you. And I guess the other person, her, you know, sort of spouse guy, who seemed just like, I mean, she, no offense, Amy, but she seemed to have a terrible choice with this guy. He really didn't seem to have much going for him. I'm assuming he was just good in bed, let's be honest, because what fucking qualities did he bring to their relationship? Absolutely none. No offense. I mean, the smartest thing that character said in the movie was when he basically was in jail, spoilers, was when he was in jail and said something to the effect of, we're toxic codependents, we're racing each other to see who can get more fucked up and hurt the other one deepest. That was pretty insightful. So it looks like he got some prison therapy or some prison psychology. And for this gentleman to kind of like learn that about himself and his relationship with Amy, you know, he cashed in his meal ticket. I don't know if he divorced her and got some type of male alimony. You know what I mean? Got some of her fortune. It seemed like there was one scene earlier that kind of seemed like a friend of his, or he had this thought like, well, hey, maybe I should get on that Amy Winehouse bandwagon. Like he kind of like he seemed like one of these gigolo guys that, you know, just hangs around and waits for some woman with money to scoop him up. And even the fancy pumps girl, the blonde from earlier, she was kind of his meal ticket before Amy. It's really interesting that it's Amy Winehouse, and it seemed like, I could be wrong, but it seemed like he was at least 10 years older than her, maybe 15. From my understanding of the movie, it seemed like she was maybe 18 or 19 when she met this guy. He seemed like he was 30 or 32. I don't know. It just seemed that way. And why did she have the interest in him? What was the big appeal? I think it was she wanted to have everything. She wanted to have the great voice, the great career, bring jazz back to the forefront, and she wanted to have the princess wedding with the ready-made Ken. And he was, you know, I'm not going to say he was a scumbag. He was just a troubled individual. But for whatever reason, she wanted to mold him, or she thought he would turn things around and get on the straight and narrow. And the first time that she saw him snorting up in her home, that could have clued her in, but apparently it didn't. And it seems, just from what I saw in this movie, I don't know the true story better than you folks. It seemed like her big deal was alcohol, his big deal, and marijuana, and his big deal was the harder stuff, the cocaine. So I don't know if he got her hooked on the coke or whatever the fuck. And then the paparazzi. I mean, we've seen this in a million movies. The Kristen Stewart playing Diana, Princess Diana a few years ago movie, and other movies where they show how the paparazzi, especially I think the UK and the European paparazzi, they're even bigger assholes than here, the US of A. But basically, that was an element. Her father, Daddy's Girl tattoo. It was kind of interesting. Like every time she had a thought, she had to get a fucking tattoo about it. But the daddy, her father, did not want to. I'm on a motorcycle. I'm so goddamn cool. I got my helmet. Okay, free ride. So the goddamn father figure, the father was in denial. Apparently the father was a kind of a dime store singer himself. His mother was really talented. Amy kind of based her whole style on her grandmother, which was kind of nice and cute. Her nan, So, I mean, all that stuff was nice. So it's like, you could say, okay, Amy came from a divorced family. Oh, tragic, as is everybody fucking else. But, I mean, honestly, it just seemed like Amy had these choice of relationship partner, choice of spouse, choice to indulge in the alcohol. She did choose to go to rehab, to give her credit. I don't want to say it was too late. It's never too late, but, and apparently she did have a nice sobriety period, and then she didn't. So she was sober until she wasn't. But it just seemed to me a very unfortunate story. As far as the actual film goes, I mean, it did feel at times, just another biopic where you tell the story, you go through the big scenes. Was it amazing and wonderful? I don't think so. I mean, Elvis, a couple of years ago, the Austin Butler Elvis, Tom Hanks as Colonel Tom, that took more chances with the crazy editing. I think this movie was fine, though. I mean, I think it presented the story. I mean, I'm sure that there's more to it. I'm sure with that relationship, I can't remember the guy's name, was it Brent or some shit? But it seems like there's probably, depending on who you ask, they'll tell you how they were. You know what I mean? So I don't know, because I wasn't there. But based on this movie, it's kind of a double fault thing. So, I mean, this movie kind of aroused, first of all, I did appreciate her music. The Shangri-La stuff, I mean, was that enough to turn Amy on to this guy forever? That he knew the fucking leader of the pack band? Like, that was it? That was the big appeal? I mean, he basically seemed like a pool hall fuck buddy, a pool hall fuck boy that she wanted to mold into the fucking husband of the year. Well, apparently that didn't happen now, did it? So I hate to condemn the deceased. I mean, because I really enjoyed her music as much in this movie, more than ever before. And it upsets me that such a talented person died so young and all that good stuff, or all that bad stuff, because, I mean, what the fuck? And she leaves behind, I'm assuming that her father outlived her, which is sad and tragic and all that horse shit. A fucking parent should never bury a child, and all that good stuff. So, I mean, I'm mostly seeing this movie. I think I guess what she died in 2011. It seems like less time than that, but that's 13 years. So we're at this point where it's like with these jazz stars, not rock stars, you can just kind of write the script while they're still alive, if they show these signs of dependency or whatever the fucks. But I feel bad. I mostly feel sad and bad and all that crap. You know what I mean? But I don't. I think even if Amy was here, I don't want to put words in her mouth, but she might take responsibility for her own demise. Which I think is the movie tried to lace that in. Like it tried to get a little after school specially. All these easy riders out here tonight, all these fucking hot rodders. Anyway, I felt bad about it, so rest in peace. Not trying to be dismissive. I feel bad that she's gone and that her life went that way, but she made some horrible choices, let's face it. That's the point of the movie, I guess. Learn from her mistakes. Okay, your buddy Mike Messier, MikeMessier.com. One Man in a Camera Films for my films, Mike Sinston Movies.